Hey guys, Sandra Mexican here. Today I'm going to be reviewing Furious 7. I seen it on a Friday night, and, you know, where do I begin? When Furious 7 was announced to come out the next following year after Furious 6, I was like, holy crap, why are they going that fast? And I was like, oh, whatever. I can't wait for it. Then, unfortunately, we lost Paul Walker in the process. A lot of the people in the Fast and Furious family couldn't believe that happened because, when I first found out Paul Walker died, to be honest with you, I never told that many people about this, but when Paul Walker died, one of my friends on Facebook wrote "Poor Paul Walker." This was 3 hours before one of my other friends confirmed with me that this happened. But I just shrugged it off. Went, he must have hurt himself again. He did it already when they were shooting Furious 6. He injured his Achilles, and then 3 hours later, when the Kings were playing, one of my friends messaged me and said, "Dude, Paul Walker's dead." And yeah, that's what happened actually. And I went, that can't be possible. And then Facebook was pouring with everything, including the car that was on fire. And I went, how come nobody was there to help him? And days later, I found out that he wasn't the one driving. His friend Roger was, and I couldn't believe what was happening. How did this happen? Everybody wanted answers, and immediately, 2 hours after Paul Walker's death was announced, I went, "What now? What now? What are they gonna do? They're gonna cancel the film? They can't cancel this film. Not like this. If they only did halfway through, if he only was halfway through with his stuff, they can't just end it that way." Then that's when Universal, a few months later, announced that they were going to retire Paul Walker's character, and his brothers volunteered to go in. And I went, however you guys are going to pull it off, make sure it's a great last ride. And rewatching the films, I go, is it time for Brian to go? It's obvious that he has to because Paul's dead. But when I looked at it, yeah, Brian needs to go because he's gonna be a father. And before I saw Furious 7, this whole thing just went completely insane. And everybody was asking, can this film be done? Is anybody gonna go see it? Of course they're gonna go see it. There's a lot of people that are Fast and Furious fans. They're Vin Diesel fans, Michelle Rodriguez fans, Tyrese fans, Ludacris fans, whole Fast and Furious fans. And of course, then E did this special thing when they premiered the trailer, talking about how they're doing it for Paul. And when they say that they're meaning it. They're meaning it. And when I saw the trailer, I went, okay, this is gonna be Paul Walker's one last ride. It better be good. And when the second trailer came out, I went, all right, now I'm interested. And when I saw the movie, I knew two things were going to happen at the end of it. Me clapping and me crying. So, how was the movie? Well, you saw what I put, 10 out of 10, and I mean that. That was possibly the best out of all the Fast and Furious movies. Because I think when you add James Wan into the picture, everybody went, wait, that guy? You mean the guy that directed The Conjuring and the Insidious Chapter 2? He also did Insidious. He did Dead Silence. He did Saw. He's no stranger to Universal, believe it or not. He's been there. And when you look at it, it's really tough to now look at it. Oh, okay, sorry. So yeah, Furious 7. Where do I begin? I don't know. It was just an amazing movie. James Wan did very good. You know what's different between Justin Lin and James Wan? I think the difference is that James Wan actually gets more action in it than what Justin Lin has done in the last four films. I think what he did was very good. He was very good with this whole film, and I even loved the whole rotating the camera thing that he did when The Rock was fighting Jason Statham. I think that was perfect. I went, oh my god, this guy knows what the heck he's doing. And, you know, I don't know if they're going to bring him back. And I'm going to get to Furious 8. I did talk about what they should do for Furious 8. And it's obvious it's going to happen. Because look how much money this movie's making already. And now, to the character. Now, this story was started when Han was killed by Jason Statham's character at the end of Furious 6 when they were showing what happened in Tokyo. And Jason Statham is out for blood. Owen Shaw is still alive, believe it or not. Believe it or not. But he's now crippled, which is bad. Which is kind of bad. So Owen's still alive. And that can only mean one thing. He's going to come back. He's going to freaking come back. And what else am I going to add in here? I think when you look at it, everybody judges Jason Statham, including my friend Darren, for some apparent reason. He judges him because he just plays the typical guy. He just does the same role. This isn't one of his typical roles. In Death Race, he wasn't the same thing. I don't know why people say that. A lot of my friends say Jason Statham does not change. He was God good in this one. I'm not even gonna kid you. He's rarely the bad guy in any of his movies, and this one just takes it all. This just completely changes people's opinions, and I am, and I hope he does come back. Spoiler alert: if any of you people haven't seen the movie, you should. You should. If you haven't seen any of the films, just see this one. See this one if you're a Paul Walker fan. Well, obviously, I've seen the other ones. He's still alive, but I'm gonna get to that real soon. Everybody else was great in it. They got the girl from Game of Thrones, not Khaleesi, her assistant, the one with the curly hair. I can't remember her name, sadly. She's gorgeous. She is just gorgeous. But not as hot as Michelle Rodriguez. Come on, she got to fight an MMA fighter, Ronda Rousey. This is what I like about Fast and Furious. They're now having chick fights now. I love chick fights. They need to have more of these if they're going to continue. Because Michelle Rodriguez got her ass whooped in... Well, she kind of did in Fast and Furious 6. She kind of got her ass whooped by Gina Carano. Getting her ass whooped by Ronda Rousey? Oh, come on. Come on. Of course she's going to win, but in real life, no. That's not going to happen. But that's what makes action movies really great. The whole movie was just brilliant. I thought the way it ended was very beautiful. When the frickin' song started playing, "See You Again" from Charlie Rolfe, he was featuring in this song, Wiz Khalifa singing it. I was beginning to choke up because I know, oh god, this is it. It was. I had a feeling this song was going to be the last one because I bought the album 2 days before, and I knew either this one or Skylar Grey's song "I Will Return" is going to be the one that sends out Paul Walker. And this one, and See You Again was very, very good. And when Vin Diesel was driving off in the end, I was going, so how they're going to do this? And then Brian shows up and says, "Hey, you think you could leave without saying goodbye?" Something like that. And they were showing the pics, all the previous films with Brian in there, high-fiving everyone smiling, and Vin was giving off the monologue, and I can't tell you how perfect that was all going, and I can't even go through this interview like this because it's very, very emotional, and and the last scene, the last image of the overhead shot overhead shot of both, and the last before that, Vin goes, "You'll always be my brother." I know a lot of people are saying that was breaking the fourth wall, but who cares? It's obvious who he was talking about. Both Brian and Paul. Both Brian and Paul, and it was then the overhead shot of them still driving together, but then they separate. It's obvious that Vin's continuing on while Brian is heading off into the sunset, technically heaven if you look at it, and then when the camera goes up in the sky, goes white, then the title card reads for Paul. I was tearing like right here. I don't care if I was crying, man. There were people in there that were crying too. I felt it, and and when the screen went black, I think I was the first one to clap. I don't know. I'm not trying to start a ruckus, but immediately, because that whole movie was just phenomenal, and I think I was glad to actually be there for the ride. My first Fast and Furious experience was Fast and Furious, the fourth film technically. Everybody kind of didn't like that film. Then you had Fast 5, Fast 6, then this. I think when you look at it, it is what Fast and Furious. I posted this earlier. What Fast and Furious did, I always asked myself, is family really important? And a lot of people say yes, but I think when I looked at these films, it actually did change me a little bit. I'm not being crazy or anything. It did. It actually made me appreciate family more. My brother Martin, he may, we have a little sibling rivalry, but in reality, we both care about each other. We're just brothers. That's how it is. And I think when you look at it, the family is important. That's what Fast and Furious has taught me, and so has other shows and other movies. But I think this one has showed me the importance of family. And now I'm gonna go into Furious 8. So Deckard is still alive. All right, let me just explain. Okay, here are the things that they need to do if they're gonna go with Furious 8. And I made a mistake. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's obvious it's going to happen. Look how much money this movie's making. Doesn't matter how much the budget is. It's going to go past its budget. I even think it's going to make $1 billion before Avengers 2 comes out. Because when Avengers 2 comes out, I think this is why they pushed it back to April 3rd. They want to get as much money before the Avengers comes in and takes it. I know that sounds a little greedy from the studio, but let's face it. It is a good marketing plan to avoid the Avengers, because let's face it, the Avengers is gonna top Fast and Furious in the entire year. It's gonna top it. So, okay, here's what they need to do if they're gonna go into Furious 8. One. Get Helen Mirren as Deckard and Owen's mother and make her the villain, because that will work. It will work. It's 100% foolproof. Let's face it. Owen is crippled. Deckard is in a CIA facility unknown where, and his mom possibly knows where he is. So she'll possibly start something in New York City. That's where they want to set the next film. And I think that's a good idea, because let's face it, New York, it's a lot of cities where, but hey, buddy, girl, Dodgers don't come here no more. It's all about the Mets. I can't do New York accent. Sorry, I can't do that. So here's my deal. So yeah, get Helen Mirren to be the villain. You need a female villain. If you want to end sexual diversity gender diversity in freaking films, you're already starting that with the Fast and Furious films. So Universal, don't screw it up. Get Helen Mirren as the villain. Try to get her son Deckard out of jail and see what they're going to do to him. Either pull the plug on him or somehow keep him alive. Or make him not crippled anymore. Actually, no, that's impossible. He freaking fell out of the freaking plane. There is no way you could survive that sort of scenario. Unless you're crippled. That's the only way you could survive it. And so yeah, get Helen Mirren, get her in there, and make sure you make her a great villain. Number two, if you already confirmed Kurt Russell's going to get a bigger role, make sure he has a great role. If you want to make Kurt Russell like to be like how Schwarzenegger and Stallone, technically not doing too good in their movies, but that's until Terminator Genesis and the next Rambo film come out. God knows when the next Rambo film will come out. But if you're going to get Kurt Russell and give him a bigger role, make sure the role he doesn't turn bad in the end. I don't want to see a bad guy Kurt Russell. I like Kurt Russell. He's really very good. He's a very good actor, yeah. But the action stars don't tend to be the best actors unless they know what they're doing. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Kurt Russell. Now, number 3. Make sure Lucas Black is in this one, and make sure he gets a bigger role. Out of all the things that I would say, the one bad thing about Furious 7, and I'm not going to say, this doesn't dock the movie, because I understand why, but please, for the love of God, if you're going to get a white boy in the next film, because in the next film, I'm just telling you, as a white boy myself, even though I'm mixed with German, Mexican, and Moroccan, white here anyway, make sure Lucas Black is in the next one, because you need to have someone like that. It's not because Brian's dead. No, if Dom wants to bring a new person on there, he has to bring Lucas Black. He needs to bring Sean. He needs to bring him there. But the thing is, there has to be a reason to bring Sean. Sean is the new DK in Tokyo. So, technically you don't need him. Unless something happens in Tokyo. Sean gets a call, calls Dominic Toretto. Toretto tells him to come, then get him there. And no, I'm dead serious. It's not because of Paul Walker leaving. It's because, look, if you want to keep white America still liking the film franchise, you know what? I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about sometimes now. No, the reason why I just want Lucas Black in it is because, come on, he led an entire film by himself in Tokyo Drift, and of course a lot of people thought all the drifting, all the car racing was fine. It's just the dialogue, and where the hell was Paul Walker and Vin Diesel? Where the hell were those two? I think that's the main problem why people had Tokyo Drift under wraps. But I'm just saying, come on, get Lucas Black a bigger role. But he is on NCIS now. I think it's gonna be a little difficult for him to get into the film, unless the show gets canceled. From what I'm hearing, it's not doing too good. I'm not saying that's a good thing. That is a bad thing, because is he one of the reasons why it's failing? I don't know. I'm just saying in general. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. Don't call it Furious 8. Call it Furious City. I'm not kidding. Drop the numbers. Call it Furious City. Tokyo Drift was good. Just make a better title. Like Furious City, Fast City, whatever you want to call it, just make sure, don't do the numbers anymore. Just do Furious City, and there you go. You have a movie. Let's face it, New York is a furious city. It is possibly one of the busiest and furious city of all time. Not because of 9/11, because of some other things. Let's face it, New York has a lot of bikers, bike messenger riders that no one likes that much for some reason. So, I've never been to New York, so if any of you guys have been to New York, just tell me if I'm correct, if I'm just making a stereotypical response. I apologize. I don't mean to offend any New Yorkers, but that's what I just mean. Alright, last one. Fifth reason. If they're going to make 8, 9, and 10, make sure, if you're planning to do it, if you want to, if it's okay with the cast, if it's okay with the family, bring Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor back like in the last 30 minutes of the 10th film, if he's needed, or if you just want to keep him retired, that's fine. Just just a little reminder. Just make sure you give it a good reason to bring Paul. Well, like you can mention Mia and Paul in 8, 9, and possibly 10. Just don't mention Brian that much. Otherwise, people are gonna feel upset. It's good. It's a bad marketing idea. If you have Brian's name called out all the time, you gotta keep it like one or 5 times mentioning Brian, and that's fine. 1 to 10 times mentioning Brian or Mia, yeah, it's gonna bite you back. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like, come on, think about it. If they mentioned a character that just died, like on The Walking Dead, so many times, even though it was in the comics, or if it wasn't, it's a different scenario. Like, I don't know whatever to compare it to, but that's all I have to say, actually. So, overall, Furious 7 will remain 10 out of 10, and I think it's going to be the number one movie of 2015 for me until other films come in. Like, Steven Spielberg is coming back with a movie coming out this year. Like I said, it's really tough to call. But, thank you for listening, and rest in peace, Paul Walker. You'll live in the hearts of all of us. So until then, later, YouTubers.